Hi, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that most, if not all of us have. Something that we rely on to communicate, to gossip, to learn, to navigate unknown places, or to constantly check our complexions. Today, I want to talk about phones. These little metal boxes that seem to be ruling more and more of our lives each day, including my own. Now, by a show of hands, please raise your hand if you have a phone. Take a look around the room and let's keep that in mind. You can put your hands down. My older sister Ella didn't receive a phone until she was 17, and that was a big milestone. When she received it, life changed for the both of us. Soon, all of our relatives were just a phone call away. We no longer had to carry around a box of CDs when we went on car rides. Instead, we could play the exact song we wanted in seconds. It was great. It's my family's tradition and value, so I knew on my 17th birthday, I would be receiving a phone too. I would soon have this insane amount of power at my fingertips, and in my mind, I would have officially crossed the invisible line to young adult. In 6th grade, I was counting down the days until I could lay my hands on a real iPhone and tell all of my friends my phone number, because it was during junior high that all of my friends and classmates were receiving phones. They were crazy about selfies, and all the Disney shows depicted main characters with phone in hand. To me, receiving a phone was like getting to meet the star of my favorite TV show. They say, don't meet your heroes. Well, I met the star of my favorite TV show, that being my iPhone, and it kind of ruined the magic. Here are some of the things I didn't realize I learned without a phone, but that I now cherish with a phone. First, I learned that not having a phone naturally filtered my social life. Friends who truly wanted to talk with me or spend time with me, they found a way to. And I was able to see the most authentic versions of people by knowing them purely on a face-to-face level rather than a refined, edited social media version. Moreover, I came to realize that people with similar principles to my own were the ones who were consistent in my life. I wish I could go back and tell the 6th and 7th grade version of myself this, because I needed to know that true friends weren't those who dismissed my values, but rather encouraged them. Then again, telling a 6th or 7th grader that it's okay to be totally different is most times challenging. The people who were consistent in my life were softball teammates who I saw every weekend and classmates who actually called my landline to plan hangouts. These deliberate relationships are fulfilling on both a spiritual and physical level. Studies show that a recent increase in technology has decreased our social skills and eye-to-eye contact. Yet, it is not just important or good to engage with people socially, it is necessary for our survival. So, no matter how socially awkward we are or how introverted we feel, we need people. So, learn to value people in person. Secondly, not having a phone forced me to become resourceful. When going to hang out or eat with friends, I would have to give my parents a game plan that consisted of a time, location, and place. As a teenager myself, I know my ability to make a concrete plan wasn't foolproof. For example, I planned a day to go to the city with my friend, phoneless and all. We took BART, we rode our bikes, we soaked up the sunshine and enjoyed a carefree California day. Then it was time to go home. We hopped on our BART train. After a nap and too much talking, we realized we missed our stop. We quickly scurried out of the train. My heart was racing, thinking how I'd tell my dad where to pick me up. After some of this internal panicking, I asked a stranger to borrow their phone, and all was solved. I had to find a way to keep my parents updated, so I learned to borrow a friend or stranger's phone for a call. This taught me how to speak up for myself and communicate. Not having a phone gave me no other choice but to be resourceful. The skills required for a simple conversation feel like a lost art of our generation. Most kids struggle to look adults in the eye or lack common conversational etiquette. This causes most of our relationships to exist on a thin surface level, which makes them unsustainable. Studies show the ability to let others know your thoughts and feelings will help you feel stronger and more confident. So, next time we want to send a text or react to one, I challenge us to pick up our phones and speak up and speak to the people around us. Lastly, I have learned that if not used in moderation, our phones go from being an escape from our problems to the source of our problems instead. Most of us have probably pulled out our phones while passing someone we should have instead said hello to. Without a phone, we have to sit through awkward dinners, car rides, and family get-togethers without anything to retreat to at a moment's notice. I know that phones now aren't just used for communicating or Googling a question. Now phones are used to distract us from our thoughts, to post our life's highlights, and to buffer the more awkward moments. We've all developed a false sense of courage by taking some of life's greater leaps on text message, Instagram DMs, or Snapchat. Most of us have probably been asked out via phone, or we've gotten the cringy, "I think I like you" text. I know we've all had a great conversation via text bubbles, and then walked past that same person the next day without saying a word. And I know we've all learned the Da Vinci Code of text messaging and the right angles to achieve whatever aesthetic is in season. In fact, my friends had to inform me that Snap scores tell you a lot about a person, that if you use certain punctuation within a sentence, respond too quickly or too late, it says a lot. And now that I do have a phone, I find that I will actively start scrolling just to avoid an uncomfortable thought or feeling. This desire to check an imaginary notification is deteriorating our social skills and addicting us to quick dopamine hits. Dopamine is one of those feel-good chemicals that is released in our brains each time we scroll for another TikTok or we get that Snapchat back from our crush. So, as we're riding the roller coaster up, it feels great. Like any addiction, this also leads to withdrawals, and eventually we have a dopamine bar set too high for the next hit to satisfy, causing us to think more based on our emotions and to keep doom scrolling until a TikTok that would have made us stop and laugh now just becomes another swipe for funnier content. This dopamine addiction, this dependency, creates an endless void of needed satisfaction that not only affects how we feel, but how we perceive the world to be. By constantly searching, scrolling, and swiping, we're comparing ourselves constantly to unrealistic standards. And so we convince ourselves that our lives aren't as grand as the ones we see on the latest Instagram story or family Facebook. Now, we are obsessed with the way things seem rather than the way they truly are. We need to be present and learn from life's cringy moments. So, I challenge us in these uncomfortable moments to be brave and unplug. One of the greatest powers we have as humans is the power of choice. And I'm not saying that we need to completely expel all digital devices from our lives or to give up social media completely. But what I am saying is that moderation is required for a more balanced and fulfilling life. We rely on phones for primary stimulation or answers, when instead, we can be relying on people. So I challenge us, the next generation, to not pull out our phones the next time we're awkwardly walking down the hallway. The next time we're riding in the car, let's just look out the window. And when we want to ask someone something important, let's do it face to face. We have the power of choice, so let's choose to connect more with people. Thank you.